Ahoo! Yes, Garvitasha. Welcome as a second installment of our Science of Tradition. Um, this one is on plant consciousness, specifically how it impacts our relationship to farming and our farming techniques and our understanding of that whole relationship with nature in general, and how how plants can be viewed as the organizing consciousness of nature. So does that matter to everybody? Maybe not. I feel like it should, but when you think about it in this way, um, some people are dog people, some people are cat people, and some people are plant people. I'm a plant person, and I want, I feel like it's important that we have somebody that recognizes the life and cares, taking care of those things. So you wouldn't have somebody that doesn't love dogs take care of your dog. You wouldn't have somebody that doesn't love your cat take care of your cats. Similar, not similar, exact same thing for the plants. So I would want somebody that I know respects the plants. And I'll give you a little bit of how I came to these conclusions. You know, uh, we know now that plants have audio and visual receptors. They can see and hear us. It's just that these abilities are in every cell. So it's hard to narrow that down and understand that, right? And who is Cleve Baxter? What's his life work? What's the impact of him? The Secret Life of Plants. That's his book. Anastasia, the Ringing Cedars. And so how all of these things have kind of molded my understanding to be able to share with you today. So Cleve Baxter, all right. Who is Cleve Baxter? Well, he was the foremost polygraph technician in 1966. And just for fun, one day he decided to take his polygraph and hook it to a plant, right? And so he wanted to see if he could get a response from the plant. And so he was trying to decide what he was going to do, how he was going to engage this plant to get a response from it, right? And he thought in his mind, I'll burn it. And as soon as he thought it, the plant responded. So he's like, did this plant just read my mind, right? And so that put him on this journey of discovery and experiments. And by the 70s, 80s, that he had ended up putting that from the polygraph, putting it to digitizers to be able to engage plants. And I'm going to play just a couple minutes really quick of this video. So this is Mrs. Hashimoto. Her and her husband took the equipment that Cleve Baxter created from the polygraph and hooked it to some cactuses, and they were teaching them Japanese.
On her kinetic of plants, Mrs. Hashimoto looks forward to actual conversation with her cactus. Convinced that it possesses an intelligence, she is determined to teach it the Japanese alphabet.
All right. So you get the picture there. All right. And so that's in the 80s. And so now what that's evolved into is these plant wave machines. There's actually one that far more elaborate that I would be trying to purchase here in the near future, that they're actually doing orchestras with. And so what they do is they take the rod and they put it in the ground, and they put sensors on the leaves, and you can hear the music of the plant. Okay. And so it's not just you just listen to the music and that's it. You can engage the plant, right? So by opening your heart and meditating, it will modulate the music of the plant. If you bring other plants that it enjoys near, it'll change the music, right? If you send it love, it'll respond to it, and you can engage it to understand that in real time, right? So so that it's not just poetry and fancy language, you know. And so, you know, like I said, this goes back over time. These are 1966 is when Cleve Baxter did his first look into this stuff. You know, the NIH was talking about in 2002, 2013 for cell, sight, and hearing. I saw something just recently as far as an article about that. You know, and so we think about the power of nature and what plants can do, and using that as a signal to kind of maybe think about how we're behaving. You know, so we look at these acacia trees in Africa. When there's a drought, they've found that the giraffes and the antelopes will eat them into extinction if they let them. And so when that happens, they release these tannins in their leaves that make them toxic. You know, so it starts killing these animals so that they can't get overwhelmed and destroyed because of the drought. You know, so let's think about that. You know, nature, if it so chose, could mount an attack against human beings and human civilization, at least in theory, right? So that means to me that nature is still giving us the benefit of the doubt, right? And so from there, I said I was a farm manager, and we were working with a bunch of youth in the city, right? And I had seen some information on this, and then while I was at the garden there, I was looking up stuff for teachings, you know, the 12 reflections for the youth there, and I was reading Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars, and that brought me to. I mean, I don't have it right now. I can't find it. I've been looking for it. But it's been maybe scrubbed from the internet. I'm not sure. So in researching some stuff, I came across a study. So in Europe, Anastasia and the Ringing Cedars has inspired like a religion, a nature-based religion, right? And in that, in those people that belong to that, there was scientists, and so scientists in Russia were decided to study the validity of some of these concepts that are brought forth, you know, in these books. And what they did in this study is they had people hold seeds under their tongue, and then they stood barefoot in the ground, and they stood there for 10 minutes to connect with the plants and ask the plants for help. And then when the scientists harvested these plants, they had found that the plants had compensated for the vitamin and mineral deficiencies of the individual that engaged them, right? So I mean that's amazing. What does that mean? You know, what can we extrapolate from that? Well, several things. You know, one, that plants can see us in a way that we can't see ourselves. You know, and is it just a mechanical thing that then engaged this vitamin and mineral modification within the plant? I don't think so. I think it was a conscious choice by the plant to try to help us, you know. And so if we accept that concept and put that into play, you know, and when we're working together, like I said, that nature can be this underlying unification, cross culture, cross, you know, everything, that we can work together with that and use that as our foundation to move forward. You know, so if you watch the movie or the video that I had up here, it's a wonderful little half an hour video, 29 minutes. It's called Plants Can Speak and Water Has Memory. I'll put a link in the description below. But at the end of that, it goes into some of the experiments they would do for automation and tapping into the consciousness of plants, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But for me and what I have with the greenhouse, I want to avoid automation. I think that relationship between humans and the plants is paramount. You know, for them, for us to be stewards. You know, and literally when I think of stewardship, I think of Ron Swanson in that canoe at the end of Parks and Rec, in love with that piece of land that he's going out to watch over to end of his days. You know, so I'm doing this right now, but you know, my heart's in with plants. You know, when I'm older and all of this stuff is working without me, you're gonna find me in a garden, talking to my plants and hanging out with them. So again, this is plants now. We still have to talk about consciousness of light, and water. Those are all vital aspects to this. The teachings, the 12 reflections of Mother Earth, that goes into great detail in all of this information for that garden experience. I said this is all information that we've had available for a long time. That's all peer reviewed, that we can now put into one place for all of our benefit when we're consuming anything that comes out of the garden space, whatever products that may be. So again, thank you for your time, and I will be posting again here soon.